iOS 7, the biggest thing to happen to the iPhone operating system since iOS. Hi, my name is TechBoy, and in this video I will be talking about the top 10 iOS 7 features that consumers want. Whenever they release a full version of iOS, they always talk about tentpole features, and in this video I'm going to discuss 10 tentpole features that I can see them talking about when they announce iOS 7 for the first time. So let's just get started. Coming in at number 10 is something that's always common across every iOS to date, is a new app that we didn't see coming at all, because obviously the original iPhone came out with iPhone OS 1, and then with the second iOS came the App Store, which not many people knew what an app was, but that was like the place where you could get all your apps from. And then in iOS 3 there was voice memos, iOS 4 there was FaceTime, iOS 5 we got reminders, iOS 6 was Passbook, and then for iOS 7 we have no clue what it's going to be. That's why I haven't given it a specific name or general idea of what it's going to be or anything like that, because I have no idea what's going to happen. I never saw Passbook coming, but now that we've seen it come, we just think it's something that we're not going to be able to live without in the long term, because that's generally Apple's goal for everything that they create. There's always got to be a purpose for everything. So moving right along now, and coming in at number 9 now is redesigned applications, because the apps are really aging, to be honest, and they look almost exactly the same as they were when they first came out with the original iPhone 6 years ago, because there's apps like Calendar, Game Center. If they were to update that, Jony Ive, who is now head of design for hardware and software, which includes Mac OS 10 and iOS itself, he should take on characteristics that exist in Xbox Live at the moment when he decides to update and give it a new fresh look and stuff. But then there's also apps like Contacts and stuff. If they put something like the option to put people's faces next to each of these names, it would just be something fresh and modern, and just clean up the UI or something to make it look fresh. But same goes with Stocks, Calculator, and Notes, because they all look almost exactly the same as they were when they first came out, and if they don't do anything to it, it just makes the OS look a lot more stale and boring and etc, etc, which is why they desperately need a redesigned applications for most of the ones that they provide out of the box. And coming in at number 8 is iCloud 2.0. Now, we have no idea what's going to be in it, but I expect there's going to be a significant update to iCloud, because it came out with the iPhone 4S way back in 2011, but there haven't been any major new features or anything to it since. And then only a couple of ideas that I've come up by recently is non-duplications of photos on each of your devices. So, for example, if you took a photo on your iPhone and then that gets synced to iCloud, you've got a separate thing in your folder, in your Photos application on your device, and the photo will come up there. But what's the point having the photo come up in your photo stream on your iPhone again if you've already got that photo when you took it originally? There's no point having a duplicate copy, because that's just going to take up unnecessary space. And then another idea I thought of was more customization as to what actually gets synced with iCloud and that, because at the moment you can choose what apps get synced and what don't and that, but it would be good if you could choose like specific calendars to share with the app and stuff, and maybe it already exists, I'm not sure, to be honest, but there just needs to be general improvements to it and make it more engaging and etc. And coming in at number 7 is the camera. Obviously with the camera, it takes 4 free images at the moment, even with the iPhone screen currently being 16:9. And to be able to work around this, it's going to need, obviously, updates to the hardware and all that. Probably the next iPhone 5S or iPhone 6, where possible. But if you could get the option to either have a 4x3 or 16:9 photo, it would be a really nice addition. Also, the thing that really got me curious at first, but it kind of sort of makes sense, is when they gave you the option to take photos when you're recording a video, it takes photos at the resolution of your device. So if you take it on your iPhone 5, the pictures will be 1136 by 640, not the full 8 megapixel resolution like 3264 by 2448. It just seems a bit odd why they haven't done that in the first place, but if they can create the technology to be able to do it, it would be a really nice addition. 360-degree panoramas, I've got no idea why it didn't come out at first. I think it's 240 degrees-ish at the moment, but 360 would be nice. Pinch to zoom while recording a video, or there could be like a slider on the screen that you can move your finger up and down on when you are recording the video to be able to zoom in and out, just giving more flexibility. And just in general improvements for HDR photos and general improvements for HDR videos. Coming in at number 6 is, of course, Siri. Now, what does Siri desperately need to make it stand out from the competition? APIs for developers. Everybody wanted this last year, and it never came, so everybody was going, hey, how you dare not put it in? But obviously, it's going to have to come out this year if they really want Siri to stand out from the competition. But then obviously the competition's going to catch up quick and all of that, but if Apple gets ahead of the game, it could be of a huge advantage. There could be customizable voices, possibly for a small price, so you could go on the iTunes store and download like a pack thing or something. So with the Siri microphone, for example, you could have like a picture of Yoda or Homer Simpson, for example, and then their voice goes over Siri instead when it comes out, possibly for a small price like 99 cents. It's just going to create another way for developers to be able to gain more money. And there's probably going to be tons of new features, all that blah blah blah. There's probably going to be stuff like booking tickets in countries outside the US for movies, same for concerts, same for sports games. One huge request I really wanted is offline mode, because you can play songs on your iPhone, of course, and you can talk to Siri to say, like, change song and all that. But when you're talking to the Siri itself and say, play this song, it has to upload what you said to their server, work out what you were saying, and then send that request back, and then make a change. If Siri becomes more intelligent and understands all of this without having to connect to the internet at all, except for times when it obviously needs to connect to the internet for search web results and stuff like that, it could just save a lot of cellular data and stuff, which would be really handy. And also, keeping music playing while you're talking to Siri would be nice, instead of it phasing in and phasing out all the time. Siri processing what you're saying while you're saying it would be really good, like Google Now at the moment, which would be a nice addition so you can get faster responses, which is what makes Google Now stand out from Siri at this point in time. Obviously, many new languages, hands-free Siri would be nice, so if you say something like, hey Siri, then it will go like, boop, and then you talk into it what you want to say, and you want it to search. Also, if you have like Yoda as a voice, for example, you can say something like, hey Yoda, and then it will activate, and then you can do anything cool like that. Or you can just say something like, hey iPad. There's probably customization as to what you choose to say, so it knows what to hear for, to be able to respond. To be able to convert languages to different languages would be nice. So if you said something like, translate from English to French, hello, it will then be, and then it will say out loud and come up on the screen the word bonjour. which on a side note, Bonjour is a networking program that Apple uses for reasons such as syncing iPods and stuff. That's nothing to do with Siri. I just thought I'd add it because it's just a subtle reference. Anyway, moving on. Coming in at number 5 is redesigned multitasking. Multitasking's been in iOS since iOS 4, which was one of the main changes that made the OS look a lot more up-to-date and all that way back when the iPhone 4 came out. But what it needs is true multitasking, because it's just running the apps in the foreground at the moment, and then just pausing all the applications that are currently running in the background. So if you want to load a YouTube video, for example, but you want to search the web or something while that's loading, you should be able to do that, but they haven't given you the option to do that yet, so only time will tell. Button to close all applications running at the moment in the background at any point in time would be a nice addition. A new user interface, like the picture on the right there, or there's a really popular jailbreak tweak in Cydia called Auxo, A-U-X-O, which has received a lot of reception, and it looks really good, and there's a lot of good things all about it. I'll leave a link for that in the description, so you can have a look at it in your own time. Closing multiple apps at the same time. So with the image on the screen at the moment, if you slided your finger all the way down the left side, it would close Flipboard and Facebook at the same time, so it just makes it quicker to close individual applications instead of having to just tap every little button for every little application. Allowing the option to run certain apps in the background, and updating applications in the background, but setting the limit so many megabytes per session. So if you're on a data plan with only 500 megabytes or something, you say, by all means, go ahead and update my apps, but only update them if the apps themselves are no bigger than 5 megabytes without my consent at first. But if you're over Wi-Fi, then obviously that shouldn't be much of an issue. But over cellular with restricted data plans and all of that, that would be a main issue, and that would be a good way to work around it. And number 4 is split screen multitasking. Now the iPad came out in 2010, and everybody has always been asking ever since to be able to split the screen so you can do two things at the same time. It's obviously going to be an iPad and iPad mini exclusive, because it's going to be almost impossible to do it on an iPhone or an iPod Touch. The image on screen basically gives you a rough idea. It's not probably the best example, but it gives you a rough idea of what I'm trying to talk about. It would be handy because you could take advantage of multiple fingers working at the same time, because with the iPad screen at the moment, it can work with 10 fingers on the screen at the same time. So if you, as a parent, for example, want to do productivity stuff on one side while your child is playing Angry Birds or something on the other side of the screen, that would now be possible if they implement this at all. And also, watching videos while you're typing notes would be a nice addition. Number 3 is Notification Center, which came out in iOS 5, but it needs quite a few tweaks to it to make it look more fresh and modern and up-to-date, as you'll see what I'm talking about from now on. Keeping the same concept as they've already got at the moment is all they really need to do, but they just need to add more features to it and more options. You don't obviously have to implement all these options and stuff, but it would be nice if you have the ability to enable all this stuff without having to jailbreak any of your devices at first. There should be toggles on the home screen, and obviously Notification Center itself, or Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular, airplane mode. You get the idea. If you slide your finger down from the top of the screen, you reveal the Notification Center, but if you do it twice, that should be a way to trigger Do Not Disturb. So if you're in a place where you don't want to be disturbed at all, you should just slide down your finger twice from the top, and then just slide it up once again to close Notification Center, and then lock your phone. It's just a simple and handy little tweak that it needs. Also customizable backgrounds, because the background at the moment is looking a little bit stale and boring, and everybody's got used to it very quickly. But if they make it a different colour, or give you the option to put different colours in, it could just make it more fresh, and you could almost put your style and personality into your notification center itself. And number 2, I'm sure a lot of Android people are going to carry on about this, but you'll see where I'm going, is widgets. Yes, Android does widgets and all of that, but why does iOS need widgets? Quite simply, the home screen is getting boring, and developers want widgets on the home screen to be able to give them another reason to create stuff and sell this on the iTunes store, the App Store and all of that as another way of creating money. But how would they do it? Well, there's a video I saw on YouTube itself, I'll leave a link for it in the description, where you hold down one of the icons on the home screen, then a little green arrow will pop up, and then you can expand them as big as you want, as you'll see in the pictures from now. Live icons like these would be really handy for messages, phone, etc. And like I was saying before, toggles on the home screen for Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cellular, aeroplane mode, etc. It'd just be really handy, and is yet another way to toggle all this stuff without having to go into settings and stuff like that. This is probably just an example of what they could do. But also with widgets, it would be handy if, like, you have a weather application, for example, and it puts the current temperature as of whenever it was last updated on the home screen, so you don't have to open the app, but also based on the current location that you're in. It would just be a really nice tweak. And now, before we get to number 1, here are a list of minor features that iOS 7 needs. Things like panoramas for iPads. I'm not trying to encourage that slowly but growing taking photos with your iPad in public phenomenon, but it just seems odd it's not there in the first place, but who knows, they probably added in iOS 7. Support for LTE in more countries, NFC for Passbook. I've only made it a minor feature because there is no guarantee if Apple will implement NFC or not, but if they do, then obviously it will probably be a tentpole feature, and then they'll go, and the next one is Passbook, and we are implementing NFC, and then they'll go, ooh, good, yeah. But then Android will go, oh, you've caught up to us, bugger. Anyways, better way to manage battery life to make it last longer, more ways to unlock your device like face detection, dramatically improved Apple's maps in terms of accuracy. It just needs more accurate maps, to be honest. FaceTime conference calling would be nice, so you could have up to 5 people calling, doing a conference at the same time. Bluetooth or NFC sharing between iOS devices, it just seems seamless and simplistic and magical, which is basically what Apple obviously tries to be, but they haven't jumped on it yet, so time will tell. The ability to set default apps. A lot of people want this because obviously Apple's maps haven't been that accurate and that successful, but ever since Google's maps have come out, if somebody finds a location or something and then they click on it, it will open it automatically in Apple's maps, but they want it to open in Google's maps because it's got more reliable map data and stuff, so the ability to change those, and also for stuff like your weather, your calendar, your notes, your mail, all of that, it'd just be really handy. Different customizations for keyboard, just another way for developers to make money, improvements to the mail app in general, and the ability to require a password to turn off the device itself, because as soon as a thief gets a phone, the first thing they want to do is turn it off, so you can't possibly track it. But if you have to have a password to turn it off, it would be really handy. But obviously if the battery runs dead, the battery runs dead. But it would take a lot longer for when the battery dies, as opposed to when they get it initially, but it would just be nifty for that reason. And the number 1 feature that I definitely want to see in iOS, and I'm sure everybody wants to see in some shape or form, is a redesigned home screen and lock screen. Now, what could they possibly add? I have no idea what they'll do. With Jony Ive, head of software, design for software now, anything could possibly happen. I mean, they could do like a new dock or something. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Live icons for the weather app, so you could have your current temperature based on the current location, so you don't have to open the app. Scrolling folders, so you could have as many as you want, so you don't have to have multiple games or productivity folders or something like that, so you just have less folders, so then you have less home screens and stuff. It'd just be really handy. A new home screen layout would be good. No set grid. This is the one thing that's really confused me, you could say, ever since the start, is you've always have to have a set grid for all of your pages. Apart from the dock, there's always from the top left to the bottom right. So you've always going top left to top right, top to bottom. But if you could have a set grid where you don't have to have anything set in a set place, it would be really handy, like Android has at the moment. Moving on, live wallpapers, so like you could have Flash or a short video file that's like 5 seconds long or something run in the background. It'd just be really handy. Mission control, like the image just behind the one that's currently on screen, would be handy as an alternative to, or in addition to Spotlight. So you have the Spotlight feature at the top, but then you have all the other things at the bottom. It'd just be really handy. Dynamic icons would be nice. I saw this on the internet. You get one of the apps, and then you drag your finger down on that app, and it will show you all the latest updates. So for Facebook, you pull it down, it will show stuff like Gary's posted on your wall, etc., etc. You get what I'm trying to say. And one thing I really want to see, and as soon as I saw this, if Apple ever implemented it, I would have done like a shut up and take my money. Basically, it's a grabber feature. At the moment, you've got your slide to unlock and the camera flicker thing on the right side. But if you hold your finger down on the camera one on the far right, all these other ones like music, messages, phone, and the camera one, of course, will stay there. And then you slide your finger along those. And then if you want to get to the phone quickly, then you flick your finger up from the bottom of the screen where the phone is. It would just be another quick and nifty way to get to all these features. But obviously you have to assign permission to be able to do all this stuff for each of them. But it could be really handy and it could go a long way. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. The question for you, the audience, is: what does iOS 7 desperately, and I do mean desperately, need to make it look less like a toy and more stable OS? And you can leave a comment in the section below. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. And if you choose to, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I will catch you later. Peace.